So my relationship with Transcendent Kingdom started because of Crystal. I'm just not into the presentism that online book communities creates. Like, new release, advanced readers copies, read it, read it, read it. Especially like considering like the 500 years of literature that we have before this moment. Like, they love to say Beowulf, the first book. I don't know, but like, when was that written? Like year 5, between like 5 and 12, like the years. So like, I just be feeling like I got a lot of reading to do, so I don't necessarily always want to read the book that just came out unless it's like a fave, and like I know they're gonna deliver. But Crystal told me to read this, Transcendent Kingdom. I have not read Homegoing, and Crystal is aggressive. She's a Gemini, so you know, you say yes. She told me to read Stamped, and I said yes, an enthusiastic yes, and then it came in the mail, and it was a 1,300 page nonfiction book, and I was like, you know I'm not gonna read that. I tried though. I tried, okay? Is there a documentary though somewhere? Is there? That would be great, because I'm sure I know it's important. I know. Anyway, I say all that to say, I picked up Transcendent Kingdom because of Crystal, and I was like, I'm gonna give it a go, give it the old college try, and I could not put it down. It's so good. So thank you, Crystal, and let's get into this review.
Read a book, you illiterate son of a bitch, step up your vocab.
Hi, my name is Cree Miles, formerly known as the Black Emily Dickinson, formerly known as You Better Effing Read, formerly known as It's My Vagina. But like, Cree is my name, so I do not foresee me changing my brand again. But I'm here today to talk to you guys about the book that I read in September, actually. I just had to push back this review because now that's scary. I wanted to make sure that I had all the attention in October. So I pushed it to now. But Transcendent Kingdom by Yas Gyasi, it's her second novel. The first one was Homegoing, which everyone gave rave reviews. I hadn't read it. But upon reading this, I have complete faith that it goes as hard as everybody said it went, and I should read it. This follows a girl turned woman. We follow her through a bunch of years, named Gifty. She's Ghanaian, and she lives in rural Alabama. When you think of Alabama, the word, what do you think of? Because I think of when Forrest Gump said, Greenbow, Alabama. You remember? Anyway, so that's where she grows up. Not on the black side of the tracks either, the white side. And her mother is a devout Christian, so they go to this very white church. And she has a brother named Nana, and the story is heavy. It's a heavy story, and she just takes us through, I mean, more or less the slow unravel of Gifty's family through Gifty's eyes. And it was so heavy and so beautiful, like both at the same time. You know, one thing that is very present in this community, like when I'm talking about the way that capitalism has just like gripped the online book community, just how, I mean, it grips every aspect of our lives. So like, this isn't like a hot take, but we're just always trying to push out content, right? So like, I find myself sometimes while I'm reading a book thinking about, planning about like, what's the next thing I'm gonna read. And you know, like back in the day, pre-bookstagram, pre-booktube, you was just reading to read and enjoying it, and like got to sit in the book and unpack the story with the author and the characters. And I promise, like, I was on page 123 of this book, and I just remember, like, just sitting, like, putting it down and sitting back, like, oh, this is just so great. I was not thinking about anything else. I was not pushing, like, trying to figure out what was next. Right here with Transcendent Kingdom, because of Yas' brilliance. And I just felt like I was just, like, on a winding country road, just figuring out what to do with all of my stuff with Gifty as she's trying to navigate the world as, I mean, give or take a few details, essentially an orphan who is grieving, heavily grieving the loss of her brother. So I was so grateful to have that experience and opportunity through her writing, and that's why I'm recommending this book. It was beautiful and captivating instantly. So amidst Gifty figuring out what to do with all that she has experienced through her brother's death and her mother's grief that's attached to her brother's death, along with her mother's grief that's attached to her marriage disseminating, and where that leaves Gifty, knowing what she does about her father and the decisions he made around their family. She tells this whole story behind the backdrop of, like, religion and science. Not religion versus science. Religion and science, and how they coexist and how they intertwine, and how neither of them hold all of the truth, and why that's okay and why they need to coexist. And one, that was big as fuck. Like, so, like, a really memorable moment in the novel attached to the backdrop was when Gifty was talking to her exhausting friend in college, Anne, and she was like, well, do you believe in evolution? And Gifty was like, yeah. And she was like, how can you believe in evolution and God? They're diametrically opposed. And that made me think a lot about, like, at least on my feeds, I've been seeing a lot of people, I think, who identify as Christians critiquing language like manifesting, saying that that's like pushing out prayer. And I guess, like, more than anything, that critique to me feels like an insult to God. Like, if anyone can hold space for and know that more than one thing can be true at once, or more than one word can be assigned to an expression of hope or love or power, wouldn't it be the one who created all of the things? I guess because, like, if you can look yourself dead in the mirror and know that something is wrong and still engage in it, or know that you have these multiple aspects of you but you are still a whole being, why couldn't someone who you think created everything be able to do that like 80,000 times better than you? And with all that's happening, like, the climate is literally on fire. I feel like I say that every other episode. Racial uprisings across this country and the world forever and ever, amen. There are babies still in cages. So to think that the creator of this universe would be getting caught up on semantics like manifesting versus prayer, no way, Jose. One thing from this book that I know I'm gonna take with me forever, hopefully, I would like to take with me forever. In the latter half of the book, we get a glimpse at all of the ways that Gifty sabotaged all of her relationships. And the majority of that sabotaging was directly attached to the fact that she was heavily grieving the death of her brother. And how so often when people are acting the absolute ugliest, that's when they need community the most. but that's when my give a damn usually fizzles out, and how to reconcile that. You know, like when she had that boyfriend who she kept telling she was going to take to Ghana, and then he read her journal and she said she was never going to take him to Ghana, and then he confronted her, like clearly hurt, and she laughed in his face. I'm swinging. You know, like, you're hurt, your heart's hurt, your jaw's about to hurt. But that is not how you're supposed to deal with people, because when they're acting like that, clearly something is like wrong. So reconciling that has been an adventure for me, for sure, to say the least. One thing this book made me realize is, like, as I'm like working through like the space that I'm supposed to take up in the online book community and where I belong, and like I've realized since I've been here and engaged with people that we're all reading for different reasons, and I read to have an emotive experience. Like, I want to feel my emotions right underneath my skin, like they're about to pop out. And this book made me have that, and anytime that a book makes me feel like that, that's when I be on the camera talking like this, because I like that feeling, and that's why I'm reading, to be moved and like for my insights to be changed a little bit, you know. So like, on top of us having Gifty unpacking this grief, like from the death of her brother, and navigating God, science, we also have another like B-side, and that's her relationship with her mom. And I love those. I love all the commentary around a daughter's relationship with her mother. It is the song that never ends. And so like, her and her mom having to grieve together about her brother, and like it ending up being that they are all that they have. They don't even have anybody to like buff the relationship, the ins and outs of it, was deep. And I don't know what part of me needs to unpack my relationship with my mom to realize why I always want to lap these type of narratives up, but I do. There's a part in the book where she just talks about how how could your mom not understand? Hold on. She was saying like, I want my mom to know the things that I want the same way that I know them, intimately and deeply. And like, isn't that all of us? Isn't that why white kids be slamming the door on their moms, being like, you just don't get it, I hate you? Because we just expect them to understand so much. And like, as a mom, it's a tall task, let me tell you. Ethan is like super into reptiles right now, like caught a frog, and he's a globetrotter at this point. Like, he has been spending time at my parents' house, and he spends time with his dad, so he just comes back home, he got this whole frog with this whole enclosure. Cool, sis, live your life. And actually, I wasn't sure what was gonna happen, but he's been taking immaculate care of the frog, like getting up. He said the heat lamp gotta rise and set with the sun. Like, I have never seen him this on task or aware of time in the whole decade that I've known him. And he just be wanting to talk to me about reptiles, like, all the time. And eventually I had to be like, do I talk to you about BIPOC authors ad nauseum that write books for adults? And he was like, no, that would be boring. And I was like, right, this is not our intersection. Reptiles are not our intersection. So we can talk about it a little bit, but we need to find something that we both like talking about. And I just don't know how bad he wants it. You know, it's just like, our relationships with our moms start off so intimately, like literally inside of them, and then we both end up still just being our own people. That's trippy. Life is wild. Because you'd think you'd get it because y'all was like this, but now you're like this, and wow. That's what I got for y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in a few days. I highly recommend Transcendent Kingdom if you haven't read it yet. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. I already gave away a copy on my Patreon page, but please, if you read this, let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. I was transported. I highly recommend. I highly recommend. Bye.